Hey, so this is the fun part. Got a lot of people who have questions about the process and make like a flow chart and all that fun stuff. So, you notice you have problems, symptoms. You have problems, cracks, floor, sticking doors, windows, whatever. So you call foundation repair contractor. My recommendation is to get in touch with one guy who does piers, one guy who does poly, one guy who does concrete, and see what the three of them say. Most of them should give you an estimate, and then they're going to recommend an engineer, okay? This is if you want an estimate. You can skip this step, okay? What you can go right to is selecting an engineer. You can pick one of these guys' recommendations. I don't recommend that, but you can do that. You can get a geotech and structural or a civil involved. These guys will do some soil sampling. They're going to do an evaluation of the property, and they're going to provide recommendations. These recommendations are going to be based off of the causes video to provide one of the solutions on the paradigm video that has been recommended to you, okay? Once you have the engineer's designs and recommendations, you can go back to these guys, and maybe he picked piers. We're just going to call it piers, okay? He picked piers. Good. Helical piers, push piers, don't really care. You're going to go back to the contractors portion, and you're going to say, hey, talk to an engineer. This is his recommendation. I need X number of piers based off of whatever. They're going to come out and do their evaluation, and they're going to give you proposals. So, contractors, proposals. Hey. After the contractor gives you his proposals, you select a contractor. He will provide his spec sheets over to the engineer. They're going to talk and make sure that everything is copacetic. If the engineer does not like ECP piers and the contractor uses ECP piers, then you're probably not going to be able to use that contractor. Oops. Anyway, if the contractor says, hey, ECP is rocking awesome, here's our information. The engineer says, great. He changes the plans. It reflects ECP piers. Great. So he takes a permit package. He sends it to City Hall. Generally during plan check submittal, now contractor could do that, or the engineer, or you, or whoever. Call me, I'll do it. So that's City Hall. Generally you pay the plan check fees. You got to pay for a business license if the contractor is doing it. Fill out all the information, life is good, and then this long waiting period generally happens for plan check review. Guys, don't be surprised if during plan check, you hit 1 or 2 kickbacks, okay? That means they say there's problems with the plans. Every time they do that, it goes back to the engineer. He makes changes to the design. He talks to the contractor. Contractor puts it in a permit package. You take it to City Hall, and you do this again. He might say it's wrong a second time, but if twice the plan checker says something is wrong with the plans, that warrants a phone call. You do this process again. Bop, 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 bop. If you get to a third round, I usually recommend an in-person visit with the homeowner, with the contractor, with the engineer, and with the plan checker. It is just to get everyone on the same page. Oftentimes, if you get to a third round of corrections, either the engineer is not understanding something, the plan checker is not understanding something, or the contractor is being obstinate about something. Everyone needs to get together in a physical meeting or a Zoom meeting based off of today's environment and need to handle the issue. All right. Once here, you're going to have the permit. Yay! Finally gets issued. By the way, you paid a plan check fee. Usually there's also a permit issuance fee. You need to review the permit for any special conditions. That's going to be your CO2 alarm. That's going to be seismic gas shutoff valve. That's going to be special inspection, which is all an additional cost, right? Generally not included in this guy's contract, nor is it included in the engineer's scope of work, generally. So once you get the permit, schedule the start date. Schedule means contractor. If there's a structural observation, it means the engineer. It means the special inspector. Everyone needs to know when the start date is. Contractor will coordinate with the special inspector or the engineer as far as what's actually required for them to be there. That way you're not just paying extra money out the yin-yang because you have an SI there who's not doing anything for a whole day, right? So there's that. Once that happens, you do the work. Yay. At the end of the work, call for the final inspection by the city. Asterisk. There might be more inspections. If the city requires more inspections, for God's sake, do them. Okay? If you bury your piers before you get a sign off, which, by the way, call it. This is for contractors right here. Do the work and then call in a footing inspection. If you do this one simple step, call the footing inspection. The inspector will come out and say, looks great. You have a special inspector? Great. You have a structural observation? Awesome. Make sure they get me all that information and you're good. Or he comes out and he goes on a power trip, says, I don't like any of this, change this, 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 and this, and go back to the city. And guess what? You're screwed, you have to do it. But if you have buried your piers already, if you are done with the job and you've poured the cosmetic concrete sidewalk back and you get an inspector who's flipping out about something or doesn't like the paperwork or doesn't like your inspector or doesn't like what you did, if that happens, you are in trouble. So do the footing inspection before you bury your piers. Okay? Call them out early. Call them out before you lift the house. Footing inspection. After you're done, bury the piers, final inspection. After the final inspection, you're not done. Contractor might be done. He does the concrete, cosmetic pour, finishes, whatever. Engineer needs to release his final. EOR releases final. Which, by the way, they don't like doing until they're paid. Special inspector as well. Those two reports will close your permit, and then you have all your cosmetic repairs, which take place something like 15 or 30 days after all of the major work has been done to your footing. Easy, right? Just kidding, guys. If you have any questions, there's obviously changes to this that happen every once in a while, but this is what a basic project looks like. So guys, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, drop it below or message me directly. Please like, subscribe, share, do all that fun stuff. There's a video I wanted to get out. It was kind of a lot of fun.